This is KCCK's Culture Crawl. I'm Dennis Green, and my guest today is Bob Osink, who is involved in an upcoming production at the History Center in Cedar Rapids. Not an organization well known for staging drama,
right,
Bob. Bob, but your history is you're a retired teacher, and you taught drama and directed plays for years and years, and have acted yourself,
right,
of course.
And I've just found a place at the History Center where I get to meld my interest in history and my desire to do theater and education. It all works together beautifully.
Well, you've come up with an interesting concept that will go in conjunction with the exhibit that's going on at the History Center. Of course, we say at the History Center, but the exhibit is actually at the Cedar Rapids Public Library, while the History Center is without its permanent home. And this, of course, is on the life and times of Judge George Greene.
Correct. Right.
No relation, by the way. He comes from the branch of the family that didn't know how to spell Greene, but that's another story. For those who may not be familiar with the history of Cedar Rapids, can you give me just a little thumbnail sketch about the role of George Greene in the early years of the city?
George Greene was a lawyer, and one day, as he was working, and he was riding his horse out in the Cedar Valley, and he was in the area of Shaver Park, and he was looking out over the valley, and he thought, there is a wonderful place for a new city. And he has decided to establish Cedar Rapids at that point. So he became involved in purchasing land and working with developing the city. And of course, a variety of people joined in with him, one of them being Nicholas Brown, who was a real colleague in terms of developing the city. But Greene was extremely significant in the founding of Cedar Rapids. He brought the first railroad into town. He was involved with building all kinds of businesses. He had a stagecoach line that he operated, and he just was an extremely significant man. He built Greene's Opera House after he had built the Union Opera House in Cedar Rapids. And the people of Cedar Rapids recognized the great things that he had been doing. 1 year late in his life, they surprised him on a July 4th celebration by presenting him with a beautiful silver coffee service that was engraved with his name and so on. And we have that on exhibit at the History Center. And he was highly regarded by people of his time, as well as, of course, today we still recognize him for the great things that he did.
And, of course, Green Square Park.
Green Square Park was named after him,
is named after Judge Greene. Now, your production, which is coming up on the 27th of February, is actually not one play, it's two plays.
It's two plays,
two different plays, and one of them, I know, stars our friend, my friend and yours, Rick Titus, who talks not quite so much about Judge Greene, but about this other guy you mentioned, Nicholas Brown.
Correct. Rick has done a great deal of research on Nicholas Brown, and Rick has done theater and one-man shows throughout the Cedar Rapids area for probably 20 years and portrayed a variety of historical figures. And he has chosen Nicholas Brown, a man who has fascinated him for years and has investigated him and created this story, which is really historical fiction, about a young newspaper writer who approaches him at George Greene's memorial service and asks him about Greene. Brown invites him to his office the next day to visit about Judge Greene. And that's the basis of that particular piece. Nicholas Brown then reflects on his relationship with George Greene and the work that they did together in building Cedar Rapids.
And then the other short play is a comedy that you adapted from other material, but stars some well-known names from Cedar Rapids history in your adaptation.
Yes, that's right. It's actually a one-act comedy by Moliere, and we have adapted it to the point where Judge George Greene is an important character in the show, and he is observing a variety of action, and the action really revolves around another apocryphal character from Cedar Rapids, being Osgood Shepherd, a man of fascinating character.
And somewhat fuzzy morality, as the story goes.
That's what we understand. So he's an interesting character, and to my knowledge, there has not been a presentation of Osgood Shepherd in person in the past. So this is kind of new ground that we're striking and combining what we know of Shepherd with what Molière wrote for a very fascinating similar character.
Well, the rap on Shepherd has always been he was a little bit of a scoundrel.
Well, I think it's probably accurate.
Talking with Bob Ossink from the History Center about Judge George Greene Takes Center Stage, two plays that are supporting the Judge Greene exhibit, which is running by the History Center at the Cedar Rapids Public Library. So this is coming up on the 27th of February, correct?
Correct, that's right. And it's a matinee performance at 2 o'clock. And we think we have a delightful afternoon planned for people, historical, theatrical, fun, and you can also visit the exhibit at the same time, and tickets are available by calling the History Center, or you can buy tickets at the door.
All right, Saturday, September 27th in the afternoon at 2 o'clock. It's supporting the current History Center exhibit at the library, which is called As Long as the City Stands.
Correct.
Sounds like a lot of fun. Good luck with it, Bob.
I think it will be. Thank you so much.
Bob Ossink from the History Center. Again, historycenter.org if you'd like more information.